I was definitely one of those people who was very good at intellectualizing my emotions for a long time. I was in talk therapy before I experienced any other kind of therapeutic modalities, and I got really good at identifying patterns, identifying emotions, being able to talk about trauma from my past and logically understand it, but then not understand why is nothing changing? Like I'm doing this work and nothing's really getting better. I'm still stuck in the same patterns. And when I learned about somatic therapy and realized, like, oh, I'm talking about my emotions, but I'm not actually letting myself feel them, I started to see that disconnect. And my sort of entryway was actually bridging the gap between my yoga practice and therapy. I started to notice sometimes on my yoga mat, I will just cry for no reason. And I would think it was just the song that the teacher played, or we were doing hip openers and something felt painful. When I started to understand how our bodies actually store emotional memory and trauma, I realized, oh, there's something more happening there than just a random wave of emotion. That's my body processing something that's happened to me in ways that words alone can't really touch. And that was for me the first exploration of how can movement and breath combined with our emotional experience help us to actually be with a feeling, not be afraid of the feeling. I think that's for most people the first barrier. I'm afraid that if I let myself feel, I won't stop crying, or if I let myself feel angry, then I'll be out of control and feel all this rage, or if I let myself grieve, then I'll never be able to get out of that pit. Our emotions, the big ones, can feel very scary. But when you have more of a frame of reference for what it feels like to kind of dip in and out of them physically in your body, you realize that they often pass much more quickly than we think they will. And that's what I really like to help people do, get to a place where they have tools to feel more regulated in understanding what's going on in their nervous system when an emotion comes up. And then to be able to get curious about some of the narrative and story behind that emotion so we can connect what's going on in the mind with what's going on in the body to then hopefully understand maybe this is connected to a core wound of mine and validates our experience as a whole. We get to this place where we can go, oh, of course I feel sad about that thing. Or of course I feel angry about that. A boundary was violated. And when our emotions start to make sense to us, feel more validated, then I think we feel safer to be with them. I think we like to paint the picture of healing and personal growth and empowerment as this very light-filled journey. The truth is, it's often very murky and muddy and heavy and dense. And there have been countless nights where I've just been sobbing on my couch or wailing on the ground and feeling confused about the uncertainty and randomness and unpredictability of life. And when I talk about getting curious about myself and my experience, that was the harder part to get curious about. The fun stuff is easy, but what about the days where it's harder to be with myself? Self-love is easy on those light days. Self-love is very hard on the days where we feel like a total loser. We feel like a failure. We feel like we're never going to get out of this pit that we're in. So I'd say the first thing is, again, acknowledging that that's not a unique experience. We all go through it as much as none of us really want to. And when we make the decision to say, I'm going to arm myself with the tools, whether that's learning about my nervous system, learning about somatic work or parts work, learning about how different feelings show up in my body, to give me a frame of reference for navigating all that discomfort. I think that is one of the best commitments we can make to ourselves so that it doesn't feel like we're just going at it without any sort of life vest or life preserver and like we're going to drown in the depths of those emotions. It helps to know that I have tools to pull me through this. It helps to know that sometimes it's going to be just like a deeply painful experience or a deeply painful season that I'm in. And that's not the totality of my experience. Why would I sign up to do that? I think the reason is because on the other side of it, there's so much lightness and liberation in the authenticity, in getting to that place where you feel like, ah, here I am. I see how I was giving myself away, losing myself, forgetting myself in the pursuit of connection, before. And I can see that that didn't feel very good now that I have this reference point of here I am. And it's hard work, but I think it changes the way you relate to relationships forever because you get to bring yourself into it rather than just your desire to not be alone.